underway.
Okay.
Alright, it's live, it looks like that's already on, so.
All right, I'm gonna call to order at 5:05. Everyone, this is Sean Bergeron, our guest that we invited to go over some of the stuff here about this additional building or separate building or what we're gonna do. So most of our questions, all of our questions, not most, should get answered. If you have thought of any. I told you all to make sure that you had any concerns, any questions. I mean, we've been bringing up septic, we've been bringing up sprinkler, we've been bringing up all sorts of things. So,
So I'm gonna go over this so I can sit and write, how's that?
certainly, by all means. So I saw that Mike was giving you a little background of what we were planning or hoping to achieve, or our ideas for
Right.
this building here, whether we're going to attach a building or have a freestanding building.
Alright, so I've got a bunch of questions,
Okay,
alright? First thing that I would need to know is, what is this building for? Okay, what's the use of the proposed building?
okay, the proposed building is for meeting space, primarily meeting space. For
Voting.
All of the different committees and such, and for town, town meeting or voting, for
Not-
voting as well.
Not town
Not
meeting.
town
Not
meeting.
town, okay, voting. But basically meeting space, and if it came down to it, if we had to have an emergency shelter, right, a secondary, or
Yeah,
that's kind
well,
of like.
that would be a third, so
Right.
the primary is the school, the secondary is the fire station, this would be.
And
a
this would be the third, right,
Okay,
The proposal for this area is what you're sitting in now.
okay,
So out back, we have, do you mind?
no,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead,
We have the 35, we'll say 32 plus year old double wide trailers that were part of the school.
Yep.
When they outgrew the space. That's been our PD on one half and our land use boards on the other half. The land use boards were proposing to come into this room here, which is approximately 30 by 30. And building this, but twice the size to accommodate for, Secretary of State's regulations for voting space.
so,
And two new restrooms.
alright. So currently, the two modulars that had been school use out back, those are being used of the PD and land use boards.
Correct.
Alright, and so the land use board is gonna move into this space. And then
PD.
what happens to PD?
They're going to, what we're proposing as the new, I'll call it public safety building, which is a remodel of the current fire station. And then we'll be hopefully erecting an apparatus garage. Hey, Chris. Hey.
How are you?
Good on you.
Good. We just started.
Kinda figured.
So the existing fire station gets remodeled, becomes the police department,
Well,
Police
And
and
fire.
fire,
police and fire.
yeah,
New apparatus structure
correct.
attached to it or separate?
Separate.
separate.
Okay. Alright, what else?
Now, another
green
question,
size, building size,
Building size is gonna help,
that's,
50 by-
out here,
oh, I'm sorry,
no, for this one,
60
60
by
by,
30? Is that what?
60 by 30, yeah, but would be 61, right? Cause I think this is actually outside to outside, whatever, but finished inside.
added on to this.
Well, that's the question,
possible,
that's the, I think,
yeah,
Well, I
that's,
think that's a
I'll
good starting
jump in.
place, Cause cause we can carry power, we have power enough here to take care of that. We have septic already feeding that could take care of the bathrooms, so it saves us some dollars. And we have one demising wall here that is a block wall. Whether it becomes a block and bar joist structure as this is, or something different to marry into that. But it was about, if we add on to the building, looking at this, what would the impact be to this structure? And does that outweigh, or is it less than something separated from this structure?
Okay, not gonna be that easily answered, but.
No, not
just-
easily answered, I understand that.
Just so that
Thinking,
what everybody ought to get a little bit of information on the grasp, so to speak, is there's some benefits. So anything we do, we're gonna be faced with the requirements of both the state building code and the state fire code. But the nice thing, interestingly, is that within the state building code, for instance, if we're gonna remodel this building, you don't immediately go to what's called the IBC, the International Building Code. You first go to the International Existing Building Code. And the nice part of that is that the existing building code, because this is an existing building, provides you some leniences and leeway that you wouldn't have if we were building this thing entirely anew. And even if we put an addition onto it, there's a possibility that we can still stay within the international existing building code for whatever we're doing in here, but the addition would have to be treated as a new structure, okay? The same way within the state fire code. If you're looking at the life safety code, there is a chapter, it's chapter 43, and it's the rehabilitation, reuse, and repurposing and repairs of existing buildings. So we're gonna have some leniencies even within the state fire code, that if we're dealing with this structure here, we're gonna have, we'll be able to get off the hook from a few of the requirements that we'd be faced with if we were doing this whole thing new. But remember, anytime we go into a new building, it is what it is at that point. So fire, sprinkler, alarm, everything is gonna be on the table at that point. But if you're in the existing building, you can sometimes work around those things. Just kinda keep that in mind. This building right here, I mean,
We don't plan to renovate this building,
Okay.
no.
all you're gonna do is use this room over.
correct.
Correct. At worst case, I'm not sure about the roof, depending on the pitch.
Well, yeah, well, I think this roof is its already done, it's a
Right.
bar joist, flat tar and gravel roof. It's actually on the slate to be repaired and redone.
This year.
Stripping it right off.
Yeah.
This summer.
Okay.
So whatever would go on to this could match this, but I think the cost of construction with steel and masonry may be somewhat cost prohibitive. But maybe not,
Honestly, right now, I don't care what we build it out of, it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
Everything's expensive. So the thing I think to do is to look, try to find the most cost-effective way. But then two, some municipalities say, look, if we wanna be working with contractor X, I don't know, and contractor X doesn't do blocking and steel, they only work in wood. I mean, so that's the kind of things that we should know up front. It doesn't matter to me which way you go, I can make either one of them work. Structure, I don't care if it's steel, I don't care if it's masonry, I don't care if it's wood, it doesn't matter. So we can kind of work, mess with that as we go. So if the two modulars that are out there now, those are going away.
Correct.
You've been contemplating a new building out there that was 60 by 30, is that right?
Yes, so the problem is with trying to design something was trying to, different members of the committee trying to do the research to find out if it had to be a freestanding building because of the reason, we know any new structure is gonna have to come up to current code. If we attached it, does that mean that we would have to bring this up to code as well? And you somewhat kinda answered that.
Probably not.
And what does that do to the square footage? So we originally were at a much larger structure, but we were trying to bring it underneath a certain threshold so that we didn't have to sprinkle it, because it's a flat, we're against the 8 ball here because it's flat ground, we don't have community water.
Three-phase power.
We don't have 3-phase power, all those things that are working against us, so it was, does it have to be freestanding or can it be attached? And we really haven't designed or come up with, is it gonna be wood, is it gonna be concrete, is it, until we got maybe got some of the answers to those questions of whether or not we would have to, if we built a 30 by 60 with the mindset that that's gonna accommodate 275
We're saying that, right?
approximately
275?
people,
Yeah,
does this square footage, if it's attached, get added to that and then bring the capacity up more to then we're at that, so the whole thing has to be sprinkled?
Alright, well, a couple things. We could have a building, we could literally have a building that's 100,000 square feet. If we chunk that up with firewalls, and say say we make it 10,000 square foot sections. If you have a firewall, legitimately, each portion of the structure on either side of the firewall counts as its own building. Okay, so that's how we sometimes reduce building area and stay away from things like sprinkler systems. The one thing that I would say, anyone here familiar with the Tamworth Distillery?
Yes,
Okay, so when you're in Tamworth Distillery, cause I designed that building, we just did that whole project. When you're standing on the floor there, you're standing on top of 40,000 gallons of water. We had to sprinkler protect that building because it's the distillery. And Tamworth has this very dubby little village residential water system that no way was gonna be adequate for fire suppression. So the foundation is essentially a swimming pool, no big deal. We did that down the Barrington Elementary School. In today's world, I would say don't panic too much over the sprinkler system requirement if we get there, because it's a surmountable task, whereas even 10 years ago, it was not as easily surmountable. They make decent single-phase fire pumps, for example. So we can, if we have to go there, it's something that can be accomplished, so. And I have to say that for instance, if we get into the public safety building, new apparatus bay, in fact, I just came here from the West Ospey Jewel Hill Fire Station, where we're putting in a sprinkler system there. Fire stations have to be sprinkler protected by code. We don't have choice. And lots of them are built that aren't sprinkler protected. Jewel Hill was built without a sprinkler system. Now we're back in there putting one in. So we have to keep that in mind. The other thing is police stations, fire stations, the emergency shelter, those have to be looked at in a special way from a structural perspective. Because let's just say we have a hurricane that comes through that, destroys much of the town, we don't want to destroy in those buildings that are, where our fire apparatus is stored, where our police department and emergency functions come out of, and what we're using for an emergency shelter. So those have to be looked at from a more rigid or strict perspective structurally than most any other structure. Okay, so we're gonna have to take all of that into consideration.
Okay,
Okay,
Can I ask a quick question, Sean? What drove the bus to have Jewel Hill Station sprinkled?
it was supposed to have been sprinkler protected the day that it was built. Okay,
Yeah,
and what happens frankly, we're sort of in the North Country here, a lot of municipalities, things just happen. And then at some point down the road, people say, hey, how did that happen? And, here we are, retrofitting a sprinkler system into a building that never had one. Fortunately, getting the system itself in was not bad, the piping is all in, done. The bad component there is because we're coming in after the fact, we can't use my swimming pool foundation. So we're doing a 40 or 50,000 gallon tank underground outside that's gonna be going out to bid here in another month or so. Concrete cistern outside.
Yeah.
But as it's become, sprinkler systems have become significantly more friendly than they used to be. We know more about them, and they're not the nightmare that they were when I started this. Sprinkler systems are a four-letter word, they're not so bad now.
so if I may ask, on the Jewel Hill, the cistern that's going down there, how does that work as far as, because there's not municipal water there, there's an artesian well there, I
Right.
believe they're gonna be putting in another well just for,
Not for that,
not just for
not
that,
that I'm aware of.
okay. So that works off a float system, so once they utilize the water, float goes down and starts to recover the cistern that's in the ground?
We just trickle that thing full using the domestic water supply, because the sprinkler systems are designed and sized such that most sprinkler systems are gonna meet what's called the sprinkler system demand with about 32,000 gallons of water for the duration of time that we need. So that thing might draw down 32,000 gallons of water. It won't to put out the average fire, I can tell you that. And then it just fills at 5 gallons a minute over the next however many days until it's filled again. That's all.
With the pump cycling on and off, so it
With the
doesn't
pump
overheat.
cycling. Yeah, and you wanna do it in such a way, first of all, of course, you need to know that the water supply that's filling it is capable of doing it, that the pump is capable of doing it, cause you don't wanna suck your well dry filling that, filling that fire.
How many gallons per minute, whatever, yeah.
Right, right, but it's a simple equation, that's no big deal. And the one thing too that I always, like Tamworth, when we did that one, what I did there was the same water that is for fire protection is also the water that's used to cool the still, so that the water is not sitting stagnant. I don't like 30 to 50,000 gallons of stagnant water, because I'm gonna tell you, bad things are gonna happen over time. So you've gotta make a point of, if you're not using it for something, every now and again, you gotta drain that puppy, check the tank, and then fill it up again.
That's the reason why West Ospey is putting a standpipe in so that they can fill apparatus every once in a while.
They do want, that was one of the things that they wanted to be able to do, was to fill their apparatus off that tank, and there's no reason frankly not to. It's like you say, it's a good way to cycle water.
Makes sense.
I worked with one of the firefighters in West Ospey, and I was on West Ospey Fire for 24 years.
Okay, yeah. Everybody thinks water's clean, but you leave it in a tank long enough, it gets
No,
out fast.
yeah.
Yes.
So another question is, can we attach the building to this building, or do we need to keep it separate?
Oh, I'm thinking you can. My
But
gut
this
tells me
could-
right off quickly, remember, we're having a 20-minute discussion here.
Right.
But my gut tells me we can't.
Okay,
This would constitute a firewall, correct?
Keep in mind that here's probably and possibly not, because a firewall by definition is if this is my firewall right here. Now I've got one building, legitimately one building over here and another building over here. But this firewall by code, I need to be able to entirely lose this building over here to a fire or something, and this wall remains structurally sound. So
see.
firewalls are built, masonry block is a very common material, but it's literally an independent structure. You will see, sometimes if you're in cities and you see big construction, the concrete slabs are down and these walls are built, masonry walls are built.
Right,
And usually those are they're usually one of two things, they're firewalls or they're elevator shaft enclosures. And then you build the building around them, because they have to be structurally independent. So, we've got the beginnings of one there, but if you say to me, do you think it's a legitimate firewall? Probably not.
okay,
But there's nothing that says we can't build one right on the other side.
right, right. Okay,
makes sense.
as we attach it,
So if if your goal is to kind of just blend this thing and make it flow, it's probably an accomplishable task.
Okay,
So that's the good news. The bad news
Yeah.
is, we need a sprinkler system that's fire apparatus bay.
Yeah,
What about the remodel of the current fire station?
well, so what I'm hearing, and I've gotta look at the building.
so you wanna, what's the size of that
Print the
building?
plans,
The current fire station, what's the size?
40 by 80.
So 3,200 square feet, wood construction
No, it's block.
is block. So, and that's gonna
Wood
be used,
trusses, wood trusses.
wood trusses.
Yeah.
It's gonna be used as office.
Yeah, administrative stuff.
Okay,
Police and fire,
police and fire offices.
That's it.
And then it's going to, the apparatus building is separate and distinct.
correct.
Yes.
Alright, so the
Standalone.
apparatus building,
standalone.
we don't have a choice over there, okay? This building
Can't see that?
that I'm looking at right here, based on size alone, this is what we call, interestingly, it's a business occupancy. That building doesn't have to be sprinkler protected at that size.
Okay, now, there was question about the bunk rooms.
Two bunk rooms in
Two
there.
bunk rooms, would they have to be sprinkled?
Possibly, maybe not, okay, what it comes down to, let me just look, see, are they shown on here, bunk one, bunk two? The thing to do with that right there, and I think we could probably accomplish not sprinklering it by doing this, would be to put a door from each one of those rooms to outside.
What about an egress window?
Probably not,
Okay.
okay, but worst case scenario, a 3068 door.
Yeah.
Yeah, because secondary means of escape and egress window, we put those in single family homes, this isn't a single family home. But worst case scenario, if we have to put a door in each one,
Cheaper than a sprinkler system.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
sure is.
so this is your plan for the new building,
That's the renovation of the current.
the renovate, this is,
This is the
This is
fire, that,
Yeah.
that's the fire station. Well, soon to
Fire
be,
station number 2.
right,
the only thing that strikes me here, ED and fire. But this is a masonry block building,
Yes,
right? Wood trusses,
yes.
okay.
There is a Sally port internal to it, I don't know if that changes anything.
Okay. Not that I can think of off the top of my head, but
I was just thinking if it was anything to do with vehicles being inside, for some
Probably a
reason, if that
firewall
changed
around it.
anything.
It's in the front.
5/8 sheetrock kind of thing, I think.
Okay.
Alright, so I see the Sally Port right there. Okay, so I'm gonna need to visit this building too, but that's fine. I don't think this doesn't strike me as anything too complicated or difficult. The one thing that I would have to look at here right now, you said this building is presently being used for what? This is fire?
Yes, that's currently the apparatus building.
Fire trucks are parked.
Here,
Okay. When was this built?
60s. Lawrence, remember when that went up?
Back in the 60s.
But it's been added on to what, twice or once?
Once, I think.
Yeah.
It's built in the 60s and added on to once, we think anyways,
Yeah.
okay, alright. The only thing that I'd have to look at there again is because, so we're gonna have our fire department management and our police department management in that building. I need to just give it that whole concept, thought about the structural capacity of it in the event of an emergency kind of thing, we don't wanna lose this building, obviously. You guys are dispatched out of Ossipee, I'm imagining?
The county.
Yeah, so you don't have a dispatch, you're not planning on one here, okay. Okay. Okay, what else do we need to look at and talk about, ladies and gentlemen?
well,
The apparatus.
the apparatus building, which, is
Yeah.
basically just the apparatus, do you have the,
I think so.
floor plan for that? That's by 65.
65 by 80, JT?
was it that big? No, I thought it was 50 by,
50?
50 by 70
I
or
think that's where we ended up.
50 by 6?
3 doors.
Yeah, 3
Bays.
3 bays,
16 foot, or 14 foot or 16 foot sidewalls?
16-foot sidewalls, 14-foot doors.
Yeah. And we were toying back and forth between a wood frame roof, or wood frame, wood truss structure versus a steel open concept, frame building. But now that you mentioned sprinkler, then all those, any voids within that truss space have to be, and
no, that's true,
if it's not insulated, it's gotta be to protect
That's right.
that, to protect the system. It'd be a dry system, I suppose.
yeah, we didn't think
They're
of
gonna be,
anything like that,
dry pendant heads or something, with a wet system.
So we need to add a sprinkler system.
so that
You'd have
has
to
to
add
have
sprinkler all in that attic, as opposed to steel building, if it's all insulation, and Sean can correct me on this, but that's the way a steel building's built, insulation layer over the top of the purlins, insulation up underneath it, there's no void there, so everything would be just down. And Sean may have to correct me on that.
So, Lester, this is a pre-engineered steel building.
Wood frame,
That's a wood building.
that's a wood frame steel building, yeah.
Alright,
We're looking at different options.
alright, so this is very similar, I think, Jewel Hill, I think that might be a Morton,
That's a Morton,
that's a Morton.
which is steel pylons, steel building. Lester is, the girts are wood with steel side and steel inside.
Okay, so a lot of people look at these and think it's a steel building, but it's truly a structure, it's a
Wood
low
frame
bearing wood
structure,
frame.
yeah.
Okay.
That's the apparatus.
And that obviously shown, that's not carved in stone, that was just one of the, I just asked them for a
Right,
price.
but I mean, this, you know, something like this, if you say, look at, that's kinda like what we're looking at, gives us a place to start anyways. And I mean, if you know, the nice thing about pre-engineered buildings is they're usually more cost effective.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's something to consider. The other thing though too is, you know, I'm a fan, I don't care if it's my home, which I've lived in forever, or if it's a fire station, I tend to like to do things using materials that are gonna outlast all of us. That's my choice. You pay a little bit more, but then people don't complain about us after we're dead. Okay, this isn't complicated. So, does this floor plan here, do these kinda go together?
Kinda,
Kinda.
so this would be this, would be this.
Yep, okay.
So it's just, we would need room at the back for some equipment storage and
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep, I mean, like I said, I just came out of that Jewel Hill station where, I know I've got a point of it, cause we did that, but that's a nice station, the fact they've got adequate room in there, but all of their apparatus comes in underneath the eaves,
Right,
which is interesting.
yeah,
Particularly in our environment, you're looking at coming in the gable, which makes more sense from a winter
Yeah.
perspective,
In New England,
yeah.
well, that's the one thing we don't want people cussing us out 20 years from now, because we stuck it under the sill pile.
Yeah, and you can't,
We won't know about it, Mike.
you can't.
We don't know that we won't know
That's
about
right,
it. You may be standing there going, God damn it.
we may be shoveling.
you.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, being presumptuous here, I mean, you know, when I'm looking at something like this, I'm trying to think how that building is heated and cooled, it's not cooled,
Jewel Hill,
yeah,
it's a radiant heat in the floor.
that would be my recommendation too. It's just a more practical way to go with these buildings, that's right, and they've got a propane boiler in there, yeah, okay. This is not a complicated structure.
We built the bathrooms in the back corner. And storage space at Jewel Hill, we used a thermal imaging camera to find out where the tubes were, so we didn't drive nails down through.
That's a good plan. It's difficult to replace them later or fix them later. Okay. So this right here, looking at that, workshop. Now, sink, eye wash, SCBA fill station, don't see any restrooms in here.
That is one thing, we wanna add, probably cut off the gear room, cut that in half. And enough to have at least a stand-up shower stall and one toilet, non-ADA, just for staff only, but decon, so they're deconning in there before going into the new office structure.
so it'll be a shared bathroom. Male, females.
Oh yeah, it'd just be a staff decon shower.
Okay. Like I said, this is not a difficult structure, and you're thinking 16-foot sidewalls?
Yeah, 16-foot sidewalls, 14-foot doors, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, for clearance.
Okay. Alright, so far, with my limited capacity for recollection serves me right, we're talking about potentially an addition over here. We're talking about using the present fire station for a fire office, police department. And then we're talking about a new apparatus building.
Correct,
You got it.
that's it.
I may remember all that in the morning too, so. Okay. Alright, what else?
Well,
I don't know, I think that's the crux of the biscuit.
Okay.
Where we're currently thinking. Now, whether putting something, our original plan, when we started this many months ago,
Oh, years.
was a separate building out back that would house the police department and a meeting space under one roof. My son had drawn some plans, preliminary drawings for that based on what we had on this whiteboard at one point in time. that addressed egresses and things like that. But then at that point, we were thinking that we would have a structure that would house 300 people for future town meetings and gatherings.
Yeah.
And then that put us into, JD did some research, and there was a cutoff point of capacity that was driving the sprinkler system. So the building started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But still, we would have to put our own separate septic system in, and run a power feed out there, new panels and other things that went along with that.
Yeah.
And it also increased the size of our parking area, pavement, tree cutting, so the site work, everything kind of added and got up there.
Okay.
So then we went back to, well, what if we can just add on to this building to take care of our voting needs, because we shut the school down to vote. And still New Durham votes, so Governor Wentworth District is still shutting down, but I think that's gonna be a matter of time, they'll do something and they won't have to stop school. Town meeting is held on a Saturday in the school building right down the street, so our impact there is nothing. So we didn't need anything that held hundreds of people. So we talked about, if the boards can move into here and the police have their own space, then we just add a small addition to this.
Alright, so one of the things that I'm thinking of, what's the population of Effingham?
1823.
Cause I live in Madison, and that population's gotta be maybe twice that. And so we have in that Madison town office building, which believe it or not, I moved 29 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it goes quick. That meeting room that's downstairs there, it's used for all the land use boards, the board of selectmen and so on, is not as large as this room. And most of the time, it works well. It serves that population, so I think that, it can work here. Again, I'm trying to think somewhat, I never wanna see people wasting money. By the same token, you can waste money by not building something that's gonna serve you properly in 5 years, if you know what I'm saying, so just kinda think that through.
But you don't use that as their voting room, for voting, right?
No, vote in the school, town, much like here, we vote in the school, town meeting is in the school. And I think of Conway, Conway votes at the high school. Yeah, and the town meeting is at either the high school or the middle school,
Okay.
but one of the schools. So, okay. So far, I don't think you've hit me with anything that seems insurmountable or excessively difficult. By any chance, does anybody know if there's any plans for this building?
There are. There are some old blueprints.
Yep.
It shows, we had a few wall sections that have gone through it. Shows, I think, some of them bearing the bar joists, I think are running this way, they bear on the center line wall. The roof there's some drains, it's a tar and gravel roof.
So it's center drain? It's
Center drains,
okay.
yeah, I think there's actually one off to one side here and one or two over there. I was up on the roof, last summer?
Yeah.
I brought
Right.
Murphy up there to look at that.
Now, you're gonna do the roof over here in the near future?
It's planned and was put on the warrant and passed to redo this roof this year.
Right,
Yeah, we're gonna be going out with RFPs.
yes.
Because one of the things I believe, when you do this, right now, where's the insulation, Mike? Is it on the roof deck?
I believe it's on the deck, but I was unable, that should be in a section in here, it might show that.
Okay.
But I haven't popped tiles or looked up through here to see what this is.
Because I believe
Chris,
that
right
when
there.
you peel that roof open, you're gonna have to bring that roof up to current insulation standards, I think.
Which was part of they're gonna put insulation board down, was part of the quote that we got, I think.
Yeah, I can't recall what was written up in that.
Who did that quote come from, do you know?
MJ Murphy.
Okay, I
Over.
do not know, but I know them. Melanson did the Madison School for us a few years ago, and then, I use that as sometimes very terrible, probably, we use Rob.
Yeah, it's just a boiler system. This is probably more,
62 they started it, and 63 and opened in 64.
This plan says March 9th to 64.
Is that the same? No, it's not.
No, it's,
That's when we joined Governor Wentworth School District and left Kennett.
Oh, everything final,
Yeah, up to that, like my father graduated, well, I think you graduated from Kennett too, didn't you? My aunt graduated, she was in the first graduating class of Governor Wentworth from Effingham.
Mike, you're right, these bar joints go this way.
Yep.
yeah. Please talk about. You have the same prints. Same design,
Same,
Yep.
Look at it, yep.
2 sets.
At some point, probably what I'd like to do is to take these and scan them.
Okay, well,
Yeah. I mean,
Those are duplicates, aren't
I
they?
was gonna say, we have multiple, you can take that copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no other sections show up on the other sheet?
Alright, so this sheet right here is titled E2 in the bottom.
this is what it was, you probably want, this is what the. This one.
Yeah, we don't have,
You
that's
don't
a
need that one.
site. Well, I would take it if you,
Okay.
if it's a duplicate.
You wanna take them all and basically just bring
Tell
them,
you what, E2, I've got that one, and what's the other one?
PHB-1.
I will take that one. And we're gonna scan them,
And this is the same thing.
alright, we're gonna
It's an E.
scan them and get them back to you, so.
Yeah, they're both E's.
I bet these sheets weren't yellow when they started.
I don't miss the ammonia making those, I'll tell you that.
Yep. My first blueprint machine was in the living room, how do you think that worked?
Well, Roseanne's was down in the basement,
Yep.
you remember that?
Company I work with,
Sitting there with not much room there.
company I work with, some of the
What
prints
number
were
did
back
you
in
say you
the
had, Sean? You
1860s.
I've got E2, site, bit of a site plan.
EPH V1,
I've got that one, I think, EPHV1 I've got right here.
you want this in a little bit more
Contrast.
contrast?
Tell you what, it'll scan better.
I believe these are copies of those too.
Let's go back in there, remember where that was the.
Yeah, okay, we'll just take, if you have one of those, that's E2. If you had that site plan in a clean white version, I'll take it, otherwise we're gonna live with what we got.
This one.
It's so funny how in
Those are the ones.
2026, everything that's on this one page would be on 10. Just for some reason, we feel like we have to.
Got a site plan here, but no buildings
Okay,
on it.
the original survey probably.
This is what was scanned, remember? And then that one was.
That's the site, doesn't show the building. That's the, yeah, probably want this.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give you these 3 back.
Hold this one up. Hold it up. Go, hold it this way.
No, those right back. Okay.
So, sure.
Now, this is gonna be certainly premature, but I'm gonna ask some questions anyways. This building here that we're in presently is this building cooled or just heated?
Just heated.
Just heated. Heat source is,
Um,
Gas-fired condenser
Gas.
boiler.
yep, gas-fired condenser boiler,
Propane.
yes.
and what are you thinking for, we know what we're gonna do at the fire station, and we're talking the apparatus. We're talking radiant heat in the floor, probably propane fuel.
Yes, yeah.
I'm guessing that the fire and police office building,
Currently has propane fired, Modites.
okay, so we'll have to figure that one out. And then I'm guessing you're also gonna want generators, and generator to cover those two buildings,
Already there.
already there, both of them,
We already have a 50 kW there, so.
okay. And then the new building will have a generator.
We oversize with the anticipation of future expansion, so
Okay,
That is,
50 kW should serve full.
it's only 2 years old.
is that 50K, I'm assuming single phase?
Yeah.
Don't have any need for three phase? Okay.
This is not the mains.
There you go.
Thank you, sir. Alright, so what I'd like to do, while we still got daylight, is let's, unless we need to do more in here, I just wanna wander around out here a little bit and see. And then I'd like to see that other building too.
Okay,
We can do that.
we can do that.
It's not that far away.
Okay. Alright,
Just down the road, Peter.
5 miles or so.
and Mike,
Yep.
there you go.
Yeah. This
Have him back, buddy.
This is the other one.
Printed those out today, thinking they were gonna be of value.
Okay, let me tell
Our
you.
hand size, we don't have a large scanner, we should, yeah.
Okay, we just took a brief pause to go outside and check out the outside conditions and what needs to be done there. We are now back in. And we will be leaving shortly to go to Station 2. Chris, you had some questions?
They were not related to this topic, they were just general questions, since I had all three of you guys here. Once we adjourned to go over there, I just had some questions to
Oh.
ask you guys.
Is there any other questions or discussions about what Sean has gone over? Okay,
Sean's good.
For now, questions are gonna arise, I assure you.
So the questions that arise, I mean.
no, that's okay.
Who's the contact?
Well,
Who's the contact person?
Well, right now, it's been me.
yeah,
Okay, then it should
fine.
be
Continue to
you.
do so.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, I
would
just wanted to
prefer
clarify that, yes.
Yep,
I
Well,
prefer
have to tell you, I
consistency.
appreciate that, because it is true that a camel used to be a horse until it was designed by a committee, okay? And whenever I'm dealing with, I have no problem dealing with committees and groups, but I want one contact.
Exactly,
I agree.
You know, and that, seriously, if somebody outside of Mike calls me, I'm gonna say, talk to Mike, have him call me.
exactly.
I totally agree with you.
Otherwise, we get a mess,
I definitely agree.
yeah, so.
No, been there, know what
So
you're
you're
talking
in the hot seat, Sparky.
As long as Mike is willing to be that,
I'm good.
all right. That's
If I
it,
wasn't, he's gonna give me hell anyway. He can track me down.
okay.
Ain't got no leaving.
All right, so before we're
Back down
adjourning this
Go to
portion,
the fire station.
so that you have the questions or what, because we're not coming back
Oh,
here,
this
I
has
don't
nothing to
think.
do with the building, this is just
Oh.
treasurer stuff.
Well,
Oh,
we could be-
treasurer, oh, okay.
Okay, so we can, we adjourn.
We're adjourning here, we're adjourning at 6 o'clock to go to
Station 2.
Station 2.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
This is Sean Bergeron.
I didn't know we were breaking, so I know we had talked early on, wanted to come up with some kind of
Another
quarterly
one.
financial report. I just need to know what.
Can I just ask one question about this? So is
What do I have?
when comes back, am I gonna need to do an
Oh.
oversight for this? Or that's gonna be decided?
Well, you already have it in there. I mean, have Northfield.
What else?
So,
I did
like, should I
start
have
reading
Glenn
over.
finish the major site plan?
But I
Do I need